And so that's the other benefit of that model is now you have enough people in a sample where you can actually disaggregate outcomes by race. If I only have 25 in my sample, I don't have a large enough subsample population to look at racial disparities.
Talked about sort of rapid feedback loops, evaluation for learning and adaptation, and the evaluator as the sort of mediator to raise up issues of social justice, to give voice at times to a quieter voice in the community that might be silenced by power imbalance or the presence of giant funding. And so I want to use that to sort of segue into this fourth point of ours, which is no justice, no results, which David's going to kick off. What I'd like to do is cover our last 2 points in the next 10 minutes so that we do have a little bit of time to hear from you, because there's so much expertise in this room as well. And it would be too big a panel if we were all up here. So.
The issue is that, as he found, that we're dealing with disenfranchised communities, that we have to deal with the power disparities and all these words, that we understand the context of it. Bob talked about it as the social determinants of health. You know, racism and different forms of systematic oppression are factors in our lives, no matter what Fox News says. The facts speak for themselves across the board in almost every area, and there are other groups. We're just not about race. It has to deal with also culture, immigration, has people with men, women, and young men of color. There's a lot of that stuff out there, adding to the complexity of the situation, but nonetheless true. And I think that so the evaluation point is a twofold point for me. One is that you have to be able to, we have to begin to think of an equity-based model of evaluation. And from, everybody has their view of it. It's different than equality or just looking at it. It's looking at again, it's the system, as I think the report talks about, communities of opportunity-based, but it's really equity-based evaluation, and equity approaches look at the fact that that everybody can reach their highest potential, regardless of who they're born to or where they're born. Okay? And so that those barriers are gone. And so while everybody, you know, many of our studies, what we often see is just a group rising, you know, everyone rises together, and we say, okay, when we disaggregate, and Penny's going to go into detail, you know, you can look at it differently and begin to see that not, you know, while everybody's going, some groups are not going as quick as others. That the opportunity structure hasn't changed for people. And that's, again, why looking at the system and the outcomes of that are really important evaluative aspects of it. But also it means about beginning to understand what the effects of power are,